guess so. I haven't really played with the buttons too much.
That can be dangerous.
But yeah, that's it. So we started recording. Welcome to KooKs Podcast.
Well, be happy to be here, Eric. And, my name is Michele, and my business has been Chez Michele all my life, from chef to catering to bed and breakfast. And semi-retired here in Pahrump at 83.
Always cracks me up you're retired. I'm like, man.
Never. Never.
That retirement was supposed to be easier.
So, my love for food actually started the day of my birth. My mother did the lunch service and did the cooking, and was in final stage, I guess, of labor, because right after, at 1:20, I was born in a hurry. Midwife just had time to come, and in a back room of the restaurant, well, I was born. So I would say food has been with me all my life.
All life, yeah. And you were there. How old were you when your mom got the first star for your family restaurant, right?
Then I was about maybe 3 or 4 somewhere. I would have to research. I would say 3.
3.
Yes, because after I was a few months old, I went to the Alsace. There was rumor of the pending war. The Germans were active.
Was this 1 or 2? 2, right?
2,
okay.
Yes. Not quite 1. My parents were born then. So I was in the Alsace, and again, they were very productive. My grandmother was a midwife, and my grandfather was a blacksmith. And so always a lot of people, a lot of cooking. The family food was very important in my life, all around as growing up. And from time to time, I would go back after the war, actually. I went back to live with my parents and help in the restaurant.
Nice.
Then, but
up until when? I mean, you were.
Well, that
so
was
when you were
after
4,
the war.
it was right before World War II?
I was born, yes, before.
So you experienced occupation?
Oh, yes.
Did you have to serve sauerkraut?
No.
No?
We had sauerkraut, being Alsatian. My grandparents actually never spoke. They were French, but never spoke French. They only spoke Alsatian.
Which is like German?
It's German. It's a dialect. And during the war, it was easier when the Germans actually were occupying. We became citizens. That part of France, the Alsace, and up to where my parents lived, Lorraine, Metz, the city of Metz, became actually, we were not occupied, we were citizens. They reclaimed that part of France.
That they lost during World War I?
Exactly.
Okay. So, I think I know what you're talking about now.
So then it was easier, to be in the Alsace. The Germans, they were no threat, other than them taking all your horses. We lost all our horses because 2 years into the war, the Germans were starving, lack of gasoline. Only generals would have cars to afford. And all the others would have, the officers would have horses.
I was surprised to learn that only 10% of the German army was mechanized.
Yes.
That they actually supplied everything with horses. It was
our working horses became their way of it was very every day, of course. Early morning, the Brits would go to bomb Germany, which was like with an airplane 5 minutes away from our town. Lots of times our towns got bombed. because the Rhine River ran through most of the French villages. In fact, some of the villages, one side was French, the other side was German. So, so we spent a lot of times in bunkers. The church bells would ring and you would run to the bunker. You were trained even as a little kid, you grab your doll and you run. You don't wait for your parents, or in my case, grandparents. And where my parents lived, the Nazis took over the restaurant, of course, and the men were all gone. The women ran the place, and my grandmother was very busy and in the underground. So it was dangerous for me to be living in Metz. Mm-hmm. But the Alsace was relatively calm. We didn't even realize. My grandparents made it so nice about, that it was a way of living. The bells rang, you just go for the bunker for a little bit, and the ground might rock a little here and there when a bomb came too close, but they didn't talk about dying or anything like this. It wasn't scary. They made it like, okay, we better run again. And then you went on with your life. I mean, all day long, things were normal. But after, after a teenager and I graduated from school, I went to the Cordon Bleu, became a chef. And then I was going to actually run the restaurant, but I decided to take a break.
How many stars did your restaurant have?
My restaurant got the second star. My mother got the first one with the famous dish, salmon Jeannette. Yeah. And the chef was sick, and my grandmother said, okay, we all booked, let's, go ahead and do your best. And so my mother, she made it a buffet style and really did a really nice buffet. And that was the day that they came unexpected and checked the restaurant out, and they got their first star.
And you don't know that they're coming?
No, you don't know anything. It can be...
did you know that they would ever come? Like, did you know that, like, eventually they would?
No, because they were, 17 kilometers out of the big city, and usually the big cities are the ones that get the stars. But they did. They were surprised. It was actually the border. Our hometown, across from the restaurant, was the border from France to Germany. So where I was born, Novian was still Germany.
Oh, okay. Okay, so technically they weren't handing out Michelin stars outside of France.
Exactly. Well, but that was after the war that they got the star, because during the war you didn't own anything. The Gestapo took over your house, your equipment, your stuff, and you basically...
You worked for the state.
Yeah, you survived, You got rationed so many grams of sugar and flour and whatever you did. You were allowed per person to keep, and the rest they collected every weekend. Yeah, so whatever you cultivated...
They took their cut.
They took, yes.
Wow.
So... But people were trained, and it was survival, and there was never any questions why. You just did it. You just did it. It's wartime, and you do whatever to survive.
Right, yeah.
It's don't get on their bedside.
Yeah. That's why I put on a mask. I don't want the.
Yeah, we had Germans staying
want to go to
in
jail.
our homes. We had the Americans. The Americans would advance during the war. I remember as a little kid going to entertain at the camp down the street. There was a big American camp, and to get coffee and cigarettes. My grandfather and I, we would go, him with his harmonica and me dancing on a table, and then we would get coffee, and cigarettes for the whole family. And then pretty soon they would come and play cards, and, we'd have big Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving at the camp. And the whole village would slowly participate, and adopt these Americans. Mm-hmm. And then, the Germans would push them out again, and then the German flag would be flying above your house again. And
yeah, and if you get a restaurant, it's like, okay, I just got a different dining room.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do,
It was survival.
Yeah.
And this upbringing has really helped me during my own life. Hans was in Vietnam twice, and I had little kids living in the United States by myself with small children. And it was just something that was expected of you, and it was just like what I had been taught as a little kid just kept going later in life. And I stayed busy by teaching other women and men how to cook. And I became in Okinawa. I was the chef for the general on base, and whenever he had a party, he'd call, and I'd go and cook, and they allow me to have classes in my own house then. In return of me cooking for them, I was able to cook for the wives' clubs, and there in Okinawa it's really nice because we had the Navy, the Marines, the Army, and the Air Force. The only thing I couldn't do is mix the Army and the Air Force wives in my cooking class. I had to have them separate on a separate day for the Air Force and the Navy and etc., the 4 different branches.
Oh, geez, they're so funny.
And you couldn't have enlisted with officers. You had to keep them all, there was...
They're going to find a way to segregate one way or another.
I know. There are always rules in life. There are always rules, and so these were the rules. If I wanted to teach, I had to follow those rules. Have a day for Army, day for Air Force, a day for the Navy, and a day for the Marines.
You ever messed it up? Had them both arrive at the same time?
No.
Rumble in the kitchen?
No, it was pretty, the military wives were so trained at the time that you just follow guidelines and rules. When you got on the island, you got this little book, how the military wife is supposed to act and react and what not to say. It didn't tell you what to say, but all the no-nos, how to. So, always controlled. It didn't matter.
Yeah, at least they gave you a book.
And then when they found out that I was going to leave the island, because we were there 2 years in Okinawa and 2 years in Japan, they published Chez Michele, my cookbook. And those were all the menus that I taught, in the whole menus.
Can you still buy that?
No, I left it in Okinawa. The military kept on redoing it for the wives' clubs, and it helped the young airmen that...
Why don't you republish that on Amazon?
I guess I could.
Yeah, it's really not that hard.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, yeah. I actually have, I've been working on it for years, and then I give up for months, and then I'll work on it again. The best of Michele, revised part of this one and new recipes. But, the language in cooking has changed. I can see on my recipes.
Mm-hmm. Even I'm starting to not really understand the new stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have any infusions. Now everything is infused.
Everything's infused. Yeah, we had, that was kind of starting out when I was doing it.
Yeah, and what it is, you just add it.
Yeah.
You whisk it in, or
gastronomy, it took on like 50 million new meanings. It's like, that used to mean that you add acid You add acid to caramelize sugar to stop the caramelizing process.
Yeah.
That's called gastronomy, right?
Yes.
And now I don't even know what it means anymore. It's like some jerk-off chef name or something for everything.
I know, and I was wondering, I love to read cookbooks. Julia Childs, I always loved Julia Childs.
Yeah.
She was straight to the line, no fuzz, no frills,
She was great.
Yes, I just really liked her. And she would laugh at all the new language.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know.
So I don't know.
It's
should I
clickbait.
use?
That's all it is.
Yeah. Should I use the techniques as I was taught and the names for it, or should I go and use for the new people the new techniques?
I mean, honestly, you should do what you want to do with your book. Make it to where you like it. Don't try to make it sure someone else likes it, because there's too many different, personalities.
Yeah, even but for the most part, the people have said, no, don't change, leave. It's more fun to read, It's like the old cookbooks.
Yeah.
I mean...
I had this
The
1906...
Contessa, she doesn't go for the new infusions and all the new things. She pretty much has her own vocabulary.
That was my mom's favorite, Barefoot Contessa. Was she an actual chef?
No, she was not a trained chef, but she's a very good cook. She doesn't call herself a chef. She calls herself...
I've watched her a couple times with my mom, years ago. But
she is very good. She has style, and she doesn't... I think a good cook or chef is when you can admit you made a boo-boo.
Yeah, of course.
Phonies will never.
Yeah, I know.
When I hear people,
Usually, as soon as someone introduces themselves as a chef, I'm like, oh man.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh man, nobody does that. You don't have to. You cook something and then someone calls you that.
I know. Everybody's a chef nowadays.
I know.
If you cook, you're a
my
chef.
God.
But. Yeah, but you can call yourself a chef and be a lousy cook. So.
Call yourself whatever you want.
I
Don't
know,
matter.
Just do a good meal.
You can put anything on a business card.
No. Yes, words are cheap. Just show the action. I always say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Cook.
Yeah, I sure cooked a lot in my life, but my biggest thrill still today is to teach. And when people do it and they taste, I can have 3 students in front of me doing exactly the same thing, and each product will come out a little bit different.
Yeah. That's true.
Even it's the same ingredients.
Yes, it's just...
the electricity and the way, the body heat, it just makes a difference.
You put your personality into food when you cook.
Oh, yes. When you make doughs, I always try, because that's something you really can tell when people, cold hands versus hot hands, and they're making dough with that butter, for pastry, the butter that melts too quickly and it gets not crumbly, nice and dry and crumbly. It's lumpy. And you can tell, and then you help them and fix it. And that's what I thought always was important. A good cook will then be able to recover. Anything should be able to recover, usable.
Yeah.
You should never have to throw something away.
Sometimes.
It's tough.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why when you read recipes, even in famous cookbooks, with custards on a hot water bath, I rather do it on a very slow, with a copper bottom on low heat if you have gas, on low heat that you can control, than over hot water you cannot control when it's boiling underneath. To do a custard, and that's why they tell you in books to strain it before you chill it. It's because if you have a boo-boo, those lumps are going to be in the strainer.
Yeah,
so.
That's funny.
But if you do it with low heat, you have more control with your whisk.
Right, yeah.
then
It's like a hollandaise.
Yeah, then
Same
boiling
thing,
water. Yeah,
Yeah.
same with the hollandaise or béarnaise.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
all about temperature control.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's always been the love of my life is to do mixing sauces, herbs, blending, blend herbs. That to me, the smell, the aroma when I blend things, and then get the right result. That's a big high for me.
Me too.
Rather than create something big, you know,
Yeah.
to me, sauces, the finishing touches are important.
Yeah. I like the process personally. I like the chopping and the cooking.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. That's my favorite. I hate the cleaning part. That's my least favorite. And I
who
like.
does?
Yeah, I know. I do like dressing things up, and yeah, you're right. Just to make it, you know.
The eye appeal. You eat with your eyes
Yeah.
in French cuisine. It's very important. And it's not just a branch of parsley or mint leaf. It's
Sometimes it can be something that simple. It all depends. I was trying to say, but there's so many variables on how to make stuff look good.
Yes.
You know, it's hard to put it in one sentence.
But the eye appeal, I would say, and that's where you're gonna, you know, get points when they come and check you out. It's your surrounding, your creation of your menus, that you don't have everything looking white or having everything looking green. If you have white chicken, you don't want cauliflower and pasta or
Right, yeah.
rice with that. You know, you need
Contrast.
Contrast.
Yeah.
That's something you could get judged on. Texture,
Interesting.
crunchy, not everything being mushy. In a meal, you need crunch as well.
Sometimes I wonder if they ever come out to my place, even though I'm like in the middle of nowhere. But I've been written up twice. I don't know. A lot of people talk.
Well, you know, somebody can mention it to someone, and just especially little places out of sight, they like to.
Never know.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
I doubt
I
it.
think
I don't.
because everybody loves your food.
Yeah, but I don't. And I'll tell you why I don't think I'll ever get it. Is I don't use linen. I don't like doing laundry.
But if you
There's no
if
linen
you go
companies
for
that deliver.
bistro, you know, and you don't go under fine cuisine, you go under
I'm actually advertising a steakhouse.
a steakhouse. Will go with linen.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, bistro.
it's called Steaks and Beer.
Yeah, bistro. See, you wouldn't have to.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, don't change it.
I'm not. I do it to if I like it. I do it to so I like it. That's why I'm like I don't believe in you can't please everybody. I don't think it's not possible.
Your personality
Yeah.
has to come true, and that's
You have to
already
enjoy what
50%.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if I was sitting there in a vegan restaurant and that's what everybody wanted, I'd probably quit because I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not. This is not what I want to cook.
Can you imagine Julia Childs telling her to cook vegan?
Yeah, plant
She
based.
would roll her in her grave.
I'm putting organs back on the menu and taking my vegetarian dish off and putting on a shrimp dish. And putting rabbit on.
Rabbit.
Yeah. Taking the quail off because I can't get quail.
He totally quit.
I might call him again. Maybe work out something. I meant to call him the other day, but yeah, maybe I should give him a call. Because I'd really hate to not have that. People ask for quail all the time now.
Isn't that something? Well, you can get them in Las Vegas, but they won't be fresh. They'll be frozen.
Yeah, and they won't. Well, I ended up getting them from him frozen, but he cleans them too.
Yeah. And
Debones
deboned them.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, man. Like I can debone a quail. Nobody likes to.
I know, it's so time consuming.
Yeah. To
Yeah,
get
he
it
did
already
a good
deboned.
job on that.
They do
I
a
wish I
great
had bought
job.
some, too, from him.
Yeah. Yeah, he really, that killed me, man. Because he had all these other accounts and he was doing great. And then this bullshit happened. And people don't realize, just what you lose,
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
start shutting businesses down because you're scared. It's just insane.
Well, if things are starting to pick up again, he might just,
Maybe.
because she was raising him. He was cleaning him and, packaging him. He was the deboner and
Oh, maybe he just didn't want to do it anymore.
He plugged, she does all the plugging and the raising, but he did the deboning. Yeah, she did the dirty work. Yeah, she looked after them, cleaned them, and then he took it from there once they were clean.
Hey, you got a good rabbit fricassee recipe?
Oh yeah, in a white sun, or you like it in a white mustard sauce or red wine sauce. It's delicious, delicious.
Red wine sauce. Do I need demi?
Do you need what?
Demi glaze? Is
No.
it that kind of a red wine sauce?
No.
Okay, then tell me how you do the red wine sauce.
I just brown my bunny, the rabbit. I brown it, and then I use onion just to flavor the pan. I toss the onion afterwards. After the bunny is seared, I take it out, do my onion and a few mushrooms, and then just a handful for juice that will be. And then I put my bunny back in the pot. I take 3 tablespoons of flour. That is for one whole rabbit, And I use 2.5 cups of red wine that I preheat, and add a teaspoon of sugar to the wine. Get the foam off, bring it to a boil, then remove the foam so the sauce stays clear. That's why you take the impurities off. And then I add that to my pan, and I did the flour. You brown your rabbit in it, with the flour, and then you add your wine and broth, beef broth, just to cover it. Add your mushroom, and they will give liquid. I don't serve them; they're only to make extra juice.
The mushrooms?
The mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
They're full of water. They're 90% water.
Yeah,
That's why
that's clever.
Yeah, I add them. And just takes about 35 minutes on simmer. And it's ready and delicious. Bay leaf. And peppercorns, and then I finish with salt and pepper, at the end.
How would you do the mustard one?
The mustard one?
Uh-huh.
You just sear it. You don't brown it. You sear it lightly. And then you make a bechamel sauce. And cook it slowly for about an hour. Add mustard, tablespoon of mustard to the white sauce. And cook it for about, and there I use chicken broth. Cook it for about an hour, and then I add the white wine. Again, I bring the wine to a boil with a little bit of sugar. Take the foam.
Can you just use a sweet wine?
Well, you still get impurities. It's best you cook out. What's happening?
Maggie. And those cords.
Maggie, go. We're recording, Maggie. You just add the wine at the end.
Come here.
She won't go on the couch.
Oh, that's right. She won't go on the couch. You got her trained, huh?
Because of her claw.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maggie. I mean to confuse you.
I think I like it 50-50, between the mustard sauce and
the red wine.
Flavor it, with some dill. It's very nice to chop dill at the end. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's very quick. The bechamel sauce with the mustard, and then you add the white wine at the end. Thin the sauce down, and
yeah, sounds great. Yeah, awesome.
Now the French, they use the head and the feet, and they make a broth instead of using beef broth or chicken broth with a white one.
That's true. That would be a great stock too.
Yeah, makes a great stock.
Yeah,
with leek and carrot, onion.
Yeah, the brissage.
Bay leaf. Yeah, and parsley, and voila, and it's a great stock.
Yeah.
You lose anything.
What do the French do with the fur? They use that stuff?
The fur they used to sell. The guy would come around and buy the bunny furs.
I thought about that. Like a bunny jacket sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, and then they would,
Would you still talk to me if I had a bunny jacket on?
Sure. I don't mind. I won't let you come and pick them in my yard. I've been feeding them. They're not tame enough to, go and they get close to me, but not in reach.
Mm. Yeah, well,
but they wait. They turn around. They wait for me to put the salad down, and as I turn my back, they're already eating.
Yeah.
So, they know my smell, and when I walk, I don't see them, and then I turn around, and they came out of a bush. They live in a yard. Yeah, little bun-buns.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You're just attracting birds of prey.
I know. I cry when I see a hog. Yeah. Or
that's when, Sandra, at the pool, she was, throwing carrots out for the rabbits, and I said, hey, you shouldn't do that. She's like, why? Feed the rabbits. I'm like, you're feeding the birds.
Yeah.
Like, if you do it, you got to throw it off to where it's not out in the open.
Yeah, I have my seats under a table or in a gazebo, and they don't like to go under a close unless they're very hungry, the birds. But there's so many all over, and I don't see them. But once in a while, I see one sometimes sitting right on top of my bird cage when I have it outside. That's why I put a cloth over the top. So my bird doesn't see the hawk on top. Yeah, he can't get to it. It's,
Yeah, it's
closed.
Spoiled.
Yeah, it's closed.
Beyond belief.
So, yeah, cooking is fun. I'm glad you enjoy my passion.
Yeah, let me see here. You have, you use your herb de Provence. I put that on almost everything. I use your vinegar you make, the violets of Armagnac. I use that in the vegetarian dish, which I'm going to change soon. And Cherry's Jubilee, which is your cherry jelly and the vinegar. You never made that, right?
No.
That is one of my most popular desserts.
No, everybody told me about that. And, yeah, there's a lady that lives around the corner, and she said her and her husband and another couple had come last November to your restaurant, and they said, you won't believe your vinegar and cherries on dessert. And
yeah.
Yeah, she said, get the recipe.
And I put a little chocolate too. A little chocolate on it too.
Oh.
Bittersweet, yeah.
Just the right touch.
Yeah. And then I have most of your desserts. Let's see, most of your jellies I use for desserts now. I don't really
put them on a cheese platter anymore.
I still do the cheese platter. That's just whatever. But usually I'll keep switching up the cheesecake, different flavors, and I use your jellies, doing apple, cherry, whatever. And then I get that lemon lime for the key lime pie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are all the products I use. I use a lot of your products. And then I have the microgreens, and I put those on everything. So.
Yeah, those, they had last Sunday in the news that people can do it at home. But when you buy that tiny little thing that's over $150 just to get a little tray, that gets rather, expensive.
That's what kills me is that we're subsidizing farms, and yet and I heard this on the radio, the most expensive pastime is at-home gardening. Why aren't we subsidizing that?
I know.
Why is that so expensive to buy dirt? Why is it so expensive to buy, plants to grow at home? It's almost like, and yet it's so It's so weird, and this commercial farming that we're just throwing money at, and it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it is. There shouldn't be hungry people in the United States, but it's ridiculous. There still are a lot of hungry people. Sad.
Yeah, I don't understand how. Now, like all the homeless guys get cell phones now. You get a free cell phone.
If you are what?
If you're in the poverty level.
Oh, yeah.
You get a free cell phone. You get free food stamps. You get, Rule was telling me, the guy that helps me out around my restaurant sometimes. He was telling me that because his income's so low, he gets the medical care, I think from CalMed from California, but since he doesn't have a car, they send a taxi to go get him. Which he's an hour and a half away. So they send a taxi to get him, and they pick him up, and then, he's like... And then you still have to deal with the hospitals and the appointments, when they make... I think they over-appointment everybody. I've always felt like that.
I know. Exactly.
So and they won't... when I was going to this one place, it was really far away. I was like, is there any way we can, Zoom? And this was pre-COVID. Now I think they can, but the doctor refused. Because they don't get money from the insurance company if they Zoom. So now I have to drive all the way down here for every appointment. They won't see me for multiple things. Like, my body's breaking down. I got multiple things that hurt, but I have to go to an appointment for each thing on my body, and it's ridiculous.
I know. Or before, one doctor
would
take care of everything. If you needed a specialist, then you went, but
now you have to go to a specialist for everything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's so dumb.
Yeah. That's why I like my doctor. He makes half-hour appointments, and he, only when you need a specialist for an MRI or something that he can handle anymore, he sends you. But other than that, he takes care of me, I go every month just for a well check, even if I don't have any problems, but just to maintain. And I think it's worth it, not wait till you fall apart and then you can't get an appointment. So I'll make them for 3 months in advance. I got them scheduled, and stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I went and got a checkup.
Yeah. Well,
it just seems like such a scam to me.
When I was
I'm not
either, but when you're older, you don't want to wait for something to break down because it doesn't recover.
Yeah, that's something I'm noticing. Like when I hurt myself, it never goes away anymore. Like healing, just not in the cards.
And wait till you after 50, then things even slower down.
Yeah.
Every 10 years there's a big change.
A big change. Yeah, I really felt it when I hit 30, and 40 wasn't so bad. 40 was actually kind of cool. I liked 40. But 30, I felt it. Like when I lost my 20s, I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Not the young kid on the block
anymore. Like it was like I go out and drink too much. It hurt really bad.
No.
Yeah, that was funny. That was quite the experience. Still experiencing. Yay.
For me, there's always something to look forward. I'm not done yet. I enjoy their new discovery every day.
Yeah. I showed you that little chip. Can you believe that? 3.5 hours on this thing. I don't know, man. This technology's passing me up.
Gotta stay up with it. This is cool.
Yeah, this is neat.
This was a nice little morning. We finally were able to, get this done. It's not the time. It's just that it was. If I was available, you weren't, and.
Yeah, and then it was, I got like a little sick, and I didn't want to be around for a couple weeks just to be safe side.
Yeah. Well, thought this was perfect.
But I gotta say, if that was COVID, we really got lied to. Because I wasn't sick at all.
No,
it was just a little
sniffle.
sniffle.
Know when they have COVID.
Some don't.
Really?
Yeah, some don't. Quite a few, actually. And here's a possible explanation. I don't know. I heard this from a customer who is not a doctor, so take it as it is. But he was saying that that the tests are so sensitive that it'll pick up because it tests for viruses on a DNA level. So if you ever had COVID in the past, it'll pick it up, and that's why you get all the false positives. Mm-hmm. Possibly. So again, this is some customer that was telling me, but it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't I've known quite a few guys where. Like, I've heard stories about guys that were in good shape that got it and had after effects, but most guys were in bad shape, and people that died had some kind of something else wrong.
Other issues going on.
Yeah, and there was some guys that tested positive and never had symptoms, do not take care of themselves, they party a lot, so why they're alive, I don't know. But once our 74-year-old president seemed to kick it in 3 days, I felt pretty good about it. I really wasn't worried about it anymore.
Yeah,
But I still take vitamin D, zinc, and chloroquine. That's supposed to prevent you from getting it and cure it if you have it. The chloroquine's important. The zinc and the D actually do it, but the chloroquine allows your cells to absorb more of it. Oh. So it's like supercharges your cells with zinc and D, and it's really working. They're not going to talk about it on the news, but a lot of podcasts I listen to, we're starting to spread the word around.
Yeah. Well, down the road we'll find out, right?
Yeah, I know. It's always 10 years from now that we find the truth out when it's too late and ridiculous.
I don't think I'm going to worry in 10 years.
Yeah. I know. But hey, ask us in 10 years. We'll be on, COVID number 10.
I know.
Oh, man.
There's always something, every couple of years or so there's a new virus of some sort.
Well, they already started promoting the new strand. I'm like, oh, this is never going to end. It's never going to end. And what's funny is that they're calling the new strand the United Kingdom strand.
Oh, yeah.
But we can't say China strand.
I know. Then they have an African one.
Yeah, but then you can't say China. Why is it we can say United Kingdom in Africa, but we can't say China?
It's not political correct.
According to who?
I know. You and I are going to get in one. Yeah. Oh, well.
So, hey, let's talk about, because I don't think we did this. We talked about this before we got on the podcast, but I don't think we did it on the podcast. Can you go over the criteria for Michelin stars? I would because I tried Googling it, tried looking it up, and there's nothing online. There's no, here you go, chefs, this is how you get a Michelin star. So, I'm sure anybody listening to it would love to.
I don't know.
Surprise inspection.
They come unannounced, and if you don't have a reservation to see how they can get in, so usually they come on a weekend. It's rare they come in the middle of the week. It's usually when people are busy on the weekend.
Really? Those rat bastards.
Yeah, to see how you take care of your customer and how your menus are, your surrounding. It's not all just, I would say 50%, of course, is the food and the presentation. But then the other is customer service, how clean, very, very important. How clean the location is, and
even the outside.
No, just from
because technically, my pond is clean, but it's got this algae on top that grows, and I've had it checked out, and it clarifies the water and provides food for the fish. So destroying it would be bad for the pond, so I kept it, but it's not very attractive.
Inside?
No, outside.
Well. They don't worry about the outside. It's as they step into your restaurant or your bistro or whatever,
I like to call it a steak apartment.
So once they step in, and then the view, that.
Okay.
So there are certain criteria and points that the Michelin, they call it in French the fourchette, how many they give you, but it's points. A lot of it is the atmosphere and how your waiters perform.
I'm the waiter.
The stress. Well, when it's a very small place and it's the patron,
Yeah, there's only me.
So yeah, well, how you present, how your food presents, how your personality is. Do you look stressed? Do you look,
Depends. Sometimes.
under control? How much in control you are. That's the word.
I don't see. I got a problem because I don't let customers get away with bullshit questions.
There you might have to put a little Zimmermann because you might get one that, may not believe in it, but just get a reaction if you know that you're going to react.
Possibly. I don't think I react negatively. I am quite a bit sarcastic, though. But I usually get a laugh out of it. If not, maybe you should go somewhere else anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you're that serious, I don't.
Yeah, I would say, in a place, you might get higher points. They might balance the points where your personality and your food is so great that not having linens on the table is,
I swear, if I ever got one, I'd put linens on the table just because.
But you would know, I mean, your locals, but
yeah,
you can have
I'm
people
not worried
going
about it.
through that you don't know who they are.
Yeah, but I do get a lot of tourism. I couldn't rely on just local business. There's just not enough of them, and nobody really likes to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're all on budgets.
Yeah, so tourists that went to
Death Valley. Yeah.
Especially since she's not open anymore.
Bobby, yeah.
You might get more making a different way.
Possibly, I don't know. I do get a lot of people from Furnace Creek. I get a lot of clientele from there.
Okay.
So they're like the word's getting around. Like I'm doing all right.
Because if it's just you can only handle so much. I mean, you got to cook,
Yeah.
you got to serve. I mean,
Yeah, I remember
it's better to charge a few bucks more and have, less people, because you can't have.
No,
too
you're right.
many
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, and I do that too. I remember I got to the point where I was like, for the first time, I'm like, no, I'm going to do something that never's been done in a restaurant. I'm pulling tables out of a busy restaurant because it was too much, and I don't, I knew I was going to lose a couple hundred, probably a week or whatever, but I just didn't want to work that much. I wanted something a little more controlled, a little more where I could talk to people, and I'm not rushing around, and I'm not sweating, and I'm just, because that's what it was getting to. It was getting to where there was no personalization between me and the customer.
And then you would lose them. Anyway.
Yeah, I would, because it was just, get the order down as fast as I can, and rush. Whereas if I just pulled some tables out, I got more camaraderie, and I got more of what I wanted and more, I think, what customers wanted.
What they came to for.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Because otherwise there are plenty of restaurants.
But that's a hard decision to make because you can't, if you have investors, they have accountants, you cannot convince them that's a better way to run a restaurant. It is impossible. I have tried and tried, and you cannot do that. Yes, they see the dollar. Oh, no, we need those tables because we're going to lose money, blah, blah, blah. We'll be consistently packed, from now until, and we'll have the greatest reputation if we just pull out a couple tables and make a little less money. I think in the long run you would, but I can't prove that to them. They're just looking at the bottom line today.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, and that's what they look at. They want a small kitchen, large dining room, large, because that's money, 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 money. Even though it really destroys what I feel a restaurant should be and have.
They used to be like that, see? A smaller place so that they come back for you. They want to see you and your food. You talk to you. But if you rush and it's too big, you don't have that time. You don't have that. And if you have to have too many people to assist you in the kitchen, you're not making any money.
Right, correct. Yeah. It gets so expensive.
It's better to have less people and you can make them happy than these extra 2 or 3 people and you have to have help.
Yeah, and now it's like, and realistically, if you really wanted to make money, you're better off catering on the side, because that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at getting a lunch truck for the summer, just renting it, and doing a couple gigs. Because the money, you can put together some simple dishes and put it out factory style with no service, straight out of a window. You have a line of people, and that, to me, like money-wise, is the best way to make money if you want to make money really quick. Mm-hmm. Whereas, why would you do that at a restaurant? Because you're just kind of ruining what a restaurant should be.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Something to try.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about this, because it shouldn't be, looking at the numbers in like 2 weeks in Sturgis, or a week in Sturgis, I'm hoping to make, probably 6 figures. If we do it right, like 20,000 invested. But if we can turn that much food that I think we can.
Because of the people that stay over, you think?
Well, Sturgis was the only thing open last year that was big. So, it's guaranteed. These guys are not going to come to Sturgis even if there's a pandemic. Gotta love them. But it's, they're just there. It's just a ton of people. And I think, I was looking at that. I was looking at this other festival in, oh God, I don't remember. It's like northern Washington. Anyway, it's some hot spring. Mm-hmm. But I was looking, and if you do right, it's the paperwork's kind of a bitch because every state you go to, you have to redo health department and basically get a temporary license, confectioner's license.
Yeah, paperwork. Yeah.
Right, and then and that's another thing is I'm going to experience this year is what my accountant's going to charge me for the taxes I got to pay in all these states. So there's that. But if I think, for a summer gig, work 2 months, I could probably make more than what I make in my restaurant, which is crazy. But
which you closed anyway in a
right?
summer.
Yeah, I'm closed anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's just I need something to do anyway. I don't want to sit in my trailer and do nothing.
So that would be, I would say, go for it. I mean, you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Just see how much, the trailer would cost you up front. Mm-hmm. Because once you have the location, I mean, those licenses are not a couple $100 at the most.
They're not terrible at all.
No.
And they're
like a catering
they're just it's just a pain to coordinate them. The paperwork, get the inspector down there, and
for the truck. I mean, that would be a cinch.
Well, yeah, I hope. It's California. It's not. Everywhere else seems pretty easy.
Yeah, but I think when you have enthusiasm, I say go for it.
Yeah.
You look at the positive. Every coin has 2 sides. I don't care what you're looking. There are risks in every business.
Mm-hmm.
You took the risk with this restaurant. I mean, who would have,
went for broke like 5 times.
Yeah, stuck it out like this, and you enjoy what you're doing, and I think eventually it's really going to pay off where, you can enjoy it more without.
I'm enjoying it now, to tell you the truth. I probably wouldn't even thought about doing the catering gig or anything, or even venturing out because I was so comfortable there with how many people I was doing. I was making plenty of money. But ever since what happened with California, it scared me that all my eggs were in one basket that literally they just took away. They just closed, and you have to run it like McDonald's because McDonald's has lobbyists. You don't.
Food trucks are making money right now.
Yes, because that's where you can get good food. You can't get it anywhere else. Well, the restaurants are opening up again, but we've lost so many little restaurants.
Yeah, and they're not going to come back overnight. So I would say that food truck is a good investment. Have you start looking into it?
Yeah. It's like I'm going to rent this summer, and if it works out as well as I hope, I'll probably buy one. Because then it'll be worth it. Because I might even just take my restaurant down to 3 days a week, and just work some. If I pick up a couple more parties, that would cover the loss in revenue.
Yeah, and you can pick up a Pahrump. I mean, you can take a...
True, I can go to the Harvest Festival.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Well, how much would it be to rent it for 4 days? Because I'm really well known in Pahrump. I'd have a line out the door.
Yeah, I mean, it's really worth it, because... And then people also will remember your restaurant. I mean, that's something... you can advertise at the same time. Because you close in the summer, so it isn't something that they think, well, you're not doing so good in a restaurant, you're trying something else. No, the restaurant is closed in the summer. It's too hot.
Yeah.
But you can do that.
I would probably do business if I stayed open. But I don't, I remember, like, even at the end of May, like, I always get it in my head, like I'm right now, oh, maybe I'll work through the summer. It'd be nice. By the end of May, it gets so hot. I can't wait to get out of this place.
Oh, I know.
It's like there's no way.
And it stays warm in the evening. It's not like...
The sun doesn't go down until 8 o'clock in June.
I know. It's impossible.
Yeah. I'm like, well, if I open up at 7, no, it's ridiculous. And then it's still going to take an hour to cool down the restaurant. Even then, it's going to be 85. It's not really going to be comfortable cool. It's just going to be cooler than outside.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I've had customers. I remember this guy, I've had they're great customers. I love my customers. But I've had people, because the dining room was packed, so they didn't want to wait, and it was raining. So they still ate outside while water was raining on their ribeye. I've had people in, like, at the end of May, just, like, in my dining room, like, right when I opened or something, I was doing something, and it was hot, and they're, so I cooked them a steak, and they're just sweating.
Oh, God.
Eating a steak in the middle of the afternoon, and I'm just looking at them like, why would you do that?
It's freaking hot.
Yeah, they're happy. I'm miserable.
Well, they love the food, so
Yeah, I mean that's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Love the herb de Provence.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You keep moving away from that microphone. Are you really that scared?
It's gonna come and bite me. Yeah. Well, we can do it again sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to be calling you again in about episode 100.
Yeah.
What else you got? You got any other advice for young cooks out there? Just starting out?
Advice? Well, is to listen, and that's for sure. Patience, which a lot of people nowadays don't have. They already know better.
Yes.
That's the problem, is patience. And go to a good school, invest. If you want to make it a career, go and invest. They have some good schools. There's a very good school in New York. I mean, they have them in the United States that you can get real, unless, you're lucky enough to be born in a restaurant, or you know someone that takes you and starts from the kitchen, the dishes on up, you know, the prepping and watching, get the feel for it. That's really good advice, just as good as a formal education in a restaurant.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, to start working for someone that takes you under their wing.
I never went to college. I never went to college.
But you had the feel for it. You know.
Well, I started cooking at 16. Yeah.
Yeah. See, you started, somebody hired you, and I'm sure you did a lot of prepping before they had you on the line.
Yeah, and they yelled at me a lot.
And
I screwed up so much. It amazed me how I didn't get fired. Skin. Yeah, you really do, because they get mad and they won't fire you because they didn't realize it at the time. I'm getting paid nothing. The fact that I was getting paid, though, I didn't care because I was learning a lot.
The education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and a thick skin.
You have to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you're not even allowed to yell at people, which I was like, kitchens are not the same. They're not, like, at least in America, they're not, like, human resources just destroyed kitchens. You can't say anything. You can't even use, you can get fired for using the wrong pronoun on somebody now. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah.
But if you can go and learn in a mom and pop organization.
That's what I would say, yeah.
That is very good.
Go learn in the mom and pop, politically incorrect, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as you're learning. That's where you're going to learn those tricks. You're not going to learn these in corporations. Corporations, to me, like I've never had a chef in a corporation. Well, okay, take that back. Because some chefs were really good went to corporations. And those were very good chefs. But chefs that started in corporations and worked their way up just didn't cook. They never cooked anything. They would never, I don't understand how, like, you can have such manicured nails and call yourself a chef.
There's no such thing.
Exactly. There's no such thing. And I always shake their hands. And this thing right here, if they didn't have the callus from where a knife's supposed to be, I knew they weren't a chef.
I know.
I was like, because they never picked up a knife.
When I saw students with long nails, that was the end of it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and put on gloves, you don't have the feel. You need
right.
the feel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're masking everybody in the kitchen. Yeah. As if, the uniform's not uncomfortable enough. Thanks.
I know.
While we serve and cook for you, thanks for making us wear a mask.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Ugh. And cooks aren't going to wear them. Like we ever fucking wear those things, man. I wouldn't wear them in the kitchen. What's the owner going to do? Fire a cook?
Eat, right?
Right, yeah.
Who's going to cook it for you?
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that.
This is going to blow over, I would say this summer. It's going to... What else can they do?
Yeah, I know.
Open and close a little bit, but I think they finally going to relax a little bit, and the summer comes, less people have the flu. I mean, every year.
I think
anyway. I mean,
the problem is that, and I honestly think that the news outlets hype this up so well, they're going to do it again, and again, and again, and again. They get ratings off this stupid crap by people being scared and running to the news and what's going on today. And
it's going to take so long for the children to be able to socialize again. People
socialize? They're all in mass.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of shit is that?
It's scary.
It is.
Yeah. It's going to take a while. That's true.
Yeah.
I enjoy my garden. I enjoy growing. I still enjoy mixing stuff up, that. And as long as there is zest for that, I'm in good shape. That's my thing about cooking. You can't look, it's hard work, And if people look at that, then they're never going to be a good chef. You can't think about being work. It has to give you enjoyment when you chop something, the smell, the aroma has to gratify you. If you don't have that, then you're not going to enjoy doing it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can tell who enjoys what they do and who just wants to put a chef coat on and have their name, you know.
Yeah. They come and go.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, they do.
TV, they come and go.
But they get, you know what, in a corporation, they can make a great living. I always tell them that. If you don't really like to get your hands dirty, just go be a corporate chef. That's all. As a good administrator, you'll be running a casino's kitchen soon enough.
Yep.
I mean, I did it once. I was interviewed by an executive chef with a tie on and a chef coat. If I ever see that again, I'm walking out.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's so ridiculous. They don't belong together.
Yeah. Gotta look good for the camera.
That's right. Actually, you know what? I wrote down questions for you. I'm gonna see if I got all my questions.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, covered that. Covered that.
Yeah, we did cover a lot.
Oh, did you ever find it hard to be a female in the kitchen?
Yeah, that, especially in catering, most, it's a man, although now in the last 20 years, women, call themselves, a lot of them chefs, they cook or they just got a gig on TV and they're chef. But it was tough to compete and be recognized that you're as good as a man. It's still a man's world, a chef.
Oh, is it?
Now it's more.
I didn't think there were men or females anymore. I thought the genders are done with. No.
In Europe, it's still very much a gender.
Gender, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still feels like I like genders. I don't know why the country doesn't anymore.
But it's not only for chefs. I had a guy working. He used to be in the military. He's retired, and he lives in his van. He came and worked for me in the yard, and he one day he told me, I don't like to work for women. I don't like to take orders from women. And I said to him, you're being paid by a woman.
Uh-huh.
I said, I'm not going to change for you. I said, I want to remain a woman. And if you want to work for me, you're going to do what I'm telling you how I want it to be done. It's my yard. I'm paying you.
Right.
Or I said, you can quit.
Yeah.
He said, I quit. I said, thank you.
Have a nice day.
Get the money, and I paid him for his hours. He had an attitude. Every time I sent Hans out, and he couldn't work with him. And because he did it his way and no other way. He knew better.
Oh, no.
And so a month ago, the guy just told me, I don't take orders from a woman. There's still people that don't take orders from. This guy is basically a bum. But
yeah.
He has he lives in his...
you can't...
Very organic. He cooks everything organic, everything, he cooks himself because he doesn't trust restaurants. But he had a few screws loose,
Yeah.
I mean, who would tell someone, and he was being paid $15 an hour to rake my leaves and stuff. I mean, give me a break.
You can't reason with stupidity. I've tried.
So I said to him, you can quit.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
I mean, didn't you hire him?
He came to the market and he said he was this great gardener. And I said, I'm looking for a gardener, to help me. And he came. And then as long as I let him do whatever, how he wanted it. And finally, he wasn't doing the way I wanted it, and things weren't doing right. I spent more time fixing it again than I had paid him to do.
Hey, can you pull that thing closer?
Okay. And so
you can pull it closer if you want.
So anyway,
just grab it.
He just he showed his true color and told me he doesn't like to take orders from a woman.
Yeah, but that was like, why would he? He basically got hired by a woman.
I hired him.
Yeah, why would you?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense, It's like, but that's stupidity. You can't.
So, but I run into other people that, not long ago, I had an appointment. There are even physicians that have attitudes when it's women. An Indian doctor. I went to see him for my back, my herniated disc. First thing he told me, I need surgery, and I said, I don't want surgery. What else can we do? I'm here for advice. And he said, well, I'll refer you to pain management then. I said, I don't need that. I have a doctor. I don't need pain management and be a zombie in a chair. And so I said, well, you have a nice day, doctor. He was Indian. He had this attitude, A woman doesn't talk back to me, I mean, I'm the doctor here. And I thought, you're like a mechanic, I take my car to a garage and I take my body to a doctor,
Yeah.
Try to get it fixed. What the heck? It's a title. I mean, It's a job. I'm paying you to tell me what's wrong with me. And I don't need your attitude. But I still run into people sometimes.
It happens to me too. So, like, I went to the mechanics and to get my oil changed, and he busted out this list of stuff that's wrong with my truck. And I looked at it, and two of the things I've never seen before, and I'm not a mechanic, but I've been around cars. You look at receipts and stuff, and I've never seen this service. So I took it to a mechanic friend of mine, and sure enough, it was bogus service that he was charging me for. It's like he's like, this doesn't exist. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think that did. There's a whole 7 things were wrong, and I was like, is my car going to drive?
It's just to make money. Yes, exactly.
I was like, and that's the one thing, and he got all offended because I said, well, is the car going to drive out of here? He's like, yeah, it's going to drive. And I'm like, well, then it can't be that, because he would just, this is terrible. You got to get this done, blah, blah, blah. It's going to break down. I'm like, okay.
Red flag comes.
Yeah. I'm like, and then he got all defensive about it, and I'm like, I'm good. Can I just take my truck? Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
You just, if you listen to people, you can really get a good picture what they are about.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Listen to them, watch their facial expression. You see if they're phony or not. Yeah.
There's lots of phony people out there.
I don't have 2 minutes for them.
Yeah.
My time is too valuable.
Yeah, it's, wow. Yeah. But
I
they're
really grow stuff in my yard. That's a challenge enough in the desert,
That's right.
But
that's right. I grew some mushrooms. That's it. It cost me $40. I'm like, it's just not worth it. It was really fun.
it's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. Everybody should grow mushrooms in their house. I mean, I'm not talking the adult ones. I'm talking like oyster mushrooms. I grew oyster mushrooms. I showed you.
How are you doing with them? Doing good?
I grew them. I made soup.
Yeah, you can only do them twice, right? You collect them twice and then they're done.
Well, I think I misread it that because it said it gets 2. I think it only gets 2 arms, and that's it. So, because when I cut it and sprayed it and tried to grow more, nothing else would grow out of it.
No, you're supposed to, when you harvest the first time, then let it be. Again, start, cover them, get them dark, and you get a second harvest. At least with the white and the brown ones you do. You get 2 harvests out of them, but then that's it.
I couldn't get 2. I only got 1.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'll try it again then.
Yeah, you're supposed to put them in a dark and moist, not too moist, but...
So I sprayed it down. It was pretty juicy when I opened it up. I mean, so I just thought it had to be really juicy.
Yeah, on my thing, it was for the brown ones and the white ones. Just so it was wet, but not soggy. They don't want to be
soggy.
Not soggy, wet. The soil.
Hey, do you when you did a different, like, hey, you get the bag, right, and you cut a hole in the bag.
Yeah.
And then it grew out, and then you cut it. Did you cut more holes in the bag, or did it just grow out the second time out of the same holes?
Grew out the same holes.
Same holes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I started cutting more holes in the bag too.
No, just...
They might have dried it out. Because I noticed it got dry. Maybe that might happen.
Yeah, you just had too much air.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe we'll try it again.
Yeah, it's fun. It really is.
Yeah.
But if you check the price, you're really not saving from buying them fresh, other than having them available to you when you want them. But cost-wise...
I got 12.
I figure it out, how many mushrooms. I think out of that bag, I got about 22, 23.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, size mushrooms, but which is about a nice basket. Yeah. And when
like I say, you can make soup and make your money. I made a little money off it from soup, but I was thinking like sauteing it. No way.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm going to make anything.
Then you wouldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the fact that it was an experience for me, and because I didn't sell them, I used them for us. And I checked the cost, going to Smith or Albertson. I didn't save any money.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah,
but it was something.
It was fun.
New. Yeah, it was new. It came in this cardboard box. And, and it was new.
The simplicity of it. You can't beat the simplicity of it.
Yeah, and to watch them grow something different that you're not used to. Yeah, we had a basement that was just dirt, and my grandfather used to grow them. But, he would pick 200-300 a day. Once they start maturing, it's an everyday pick. He would make these big rows, on the ground, and just enough room to walk in between these rows.
Okay.
Because they would, at the beginning, cover them and keep them watering can. We'd run up and down those ridges and water them. And then oh my God, they would grow like crazy. And they would sell them on the market, Put them in these little cardboard, but they also had the little wooden, out of wood chips boxes, like the strawberries. Yeah, we did take them to the market. Yeah. We were growing lots of stuff. I saw them, like I said, on both sides. We had a farm in the Alsace, or in a city. It was import-export fruit and vegetables. So I was used to fruit that normally other kids weren't able to see out of season. My grandparents would get the bananas, the tangerines, the oranges, lemons, limes. Little villagers, they didn't know what a lime or a lemon was. You got that in a bottle.
People take a lot of things for granted nowadays.
Yeah, we got them, railroad trucks loaded with lemons or limes. And
that's what I was telling somebody. I was saying that like old, or what was it? Oh, they were saying that it was 2020 and... I think it was New Year's, and they're like, oh, we should do a 2020 cocktail. And I said, oh, we tried that one time, but it's very bitter. And I said, because pre-1940s, sugar wasn't available to the average person. You could get it, but in small quantities. You didn't really... It's not like it is today.
Exactly.
Where we basically live off sugar. We can't get away from it.
Everything has sugar.
But everything was really bitter. Like that's why the bitters were coming out, with the alcohol.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And now everything's sweet.
Everything is sweet. But in Europe, I made a cake with Chris yesterday. It was called the gold and silver. It's two batters you make. The silver is egg whites you beat and add grated. You can blend them to get mushy. They have to be ground. Hazelnuts or any kind of nuts. And that you put into your egg white with little sugar. And then the other batter is your eggs and flour and vanilla extract, or we use the vanilla bean, and milk and eggs. And you make your batter, and then you put half the batter, and on the bottom your egg white mixture with the the hazelnuts in the center, and cover it again with the gold batter, which is the regular cake batter. And then you bake it. We did for 60 minutes. And it's that high, and oh my God, not too sweet, which American cake mixes are extremely sweet. It's all sugary, know. This, you actually smell the vanilla, you smell the hazelnuts, it's...
That sounds like a cool recipe.
Yeah, very nice. Gold and silver. My landlord, when we were in Germany, the lady, our neighbor across the street, she one day said, I don't have a cake recipe for a real German, we're making this German meal. And she said, I'll bring you my silver and gold. It's a family recipe. You won't find it anywhere. And sure enough, oh my God, it was the hit, because it wasn't too sweet, and all these flavors are amazing. And then you can serve a raspberry coulis with fresh raspberries or strawberries or whatever you want on the side, or just plain whipped cream if you want. But you can really dress up this cake. Yeah,
no, the recipe sounds amazing. I'm probably going to try it sometime.
Yeah, it just, so we did that yesterday, Chris and I, our silver and gold, just to remember Frau Frisch, that was her name, Frau Frisch. And when we visited from Las Vegas, she would pack me up. I had to take it on the airplane, for the kids, the silver and gold.
The silver and gold.
The Frisch cake. Come on, you. Yeah, it was interesting. I give it to you. It's easy to make, and it's delicious. Yeah, I like the French cakes, do them from scratch, because...
French pastries are the best.
It's not so freaking sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you taught me something that was... That kind of comes down to, not too sweet, not too... The way you taught me how to do the jellies.
Oh.
I thought that was really neat. That, I asked you, so what's your jelly recipe? It's always tastes so good, and you told me...
The lack of sugar, or not as much sugar. But when you do that, you run into not gelling. And yesterday, even though I measure all the time, but somehow those fresh lemons were tartar than when you use the liquid in the bottle. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't take as... Now, if I would have 3 weeks to wait, eventually, when you have pectin in it, it will thicken. Mm-hmm. But I wanted it to be ready for you, and so that's what I did this morning. I just took 4 jars and added another bag of liquid pectin, and it took right away. Wow. Because it does have pectin in it. It's just that if you want it to be usable right away, I had to recook it and add 1/3 cup of sugar with it. Without sugar, you can add 10 bags of pectin. It won't do anything. You need the sugar to set off the pectin.
That's interesting, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about, you said that, you told me once that you, at the beginning of the season, you'll make a small batch, and if the fruit floats, you have too much sugar.
Yep.
And if the fruit sinks, you have too little sugar. And when the fruit and the jelly is uniformly distributed, you have the perfect amount of sugar.
They don't float or they don't settle in the bag.
And that was that when I asked you for your recipe, thinking that there's one recipe you can make all the time, and this is it, and that blew me away, because it's like a lot of people think that recipes are set in stone, and they're not.
They're not. No, because if the fruit are ripe, if you use frozen fruit
Right.
versus fresh, and nowadays when you get strawberries, especially when I always look for the smaller ones when I buy them in a store, the huge ones have no flavor whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They look gorgeous to dip with chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah.
That's
They
it.
suck.
But actually, for flavor, for a dessert, they're worthless.
You want the Bayese, baby.
Yeah, the nice ones, yeah. But people want always huge.
Yeah, bigger's not better all the time.
No, not.
But that's the problem I have. One of the problems I have with commercial farming is they're genetically altering food to be bigger and a certain color that catches our eye.
Yes.
And that's like, why aren't you making the most nutritious, best food for our bodies?
Well, but people are interested in selling, in making money. They don't care,
So, I mean, but it's like we have to train ourselves not to do that. We have to train ourselves not to go for these flashy big stuff and go for what's good for us, so they stop doing that.
That's going to take a lot of people and a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's
It's too
not
bad.
Overnight, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we can go ahead and we can announce Chez Michelle's coming out on Amazon Book.
Yeah, we're going to work on that, remember?
That's right.
I have to ask Peter to do that, because Chez Michele, it was published, one by the military in Okinawa.
Yeah.
In 72.
I want to buy one.
I just don't have any more,
I know. I get it. But you can. It's not that hard to self-publish a book. Like you just put it on Amazon. Amazon takes a cut and sells it. They'll print it. I don't know how much it is, but
we can check that out.
Yeah, I think you can just send them that.
And see. Well, I would like to add some. I have these great pictures that were taken by a real photographer in Las Vegas years ago. But I still have them, and, maybe have a few pictures in there. A book always sells when you have
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. To redo it maybe in a hardback. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, upgrade it.
And upgrade it a little bit from...
Have some of your school pictures in there?
Yeah.
Put a little backstory?
Yeah, why
Because you have a very interesting backstory. I love talking to you about the time in France during the war and your family's restaurants.
And how we hid for the whole time of the war, the Jewish family.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that.
My grandfather's shop, having Germans staying in your house while you were hiding these people. I would crawl up there and give them the food every morning after I milked the cows. We give them warm milk. There was no sterilization worries or boiled potatoes before we gave them to the animals. We take them off the pot and run them up the ladder it to them, and all of us would go in the bunker when the air raids would start, and they were
still in the attic.
Yeah, still in the attic, know. But and they
were lucky. They were lucky they got to stay in the attic. That's the sad part.
They're the only ones from that village that were saved. The others, all their relatives, all went to concentration camp. There was Dachau that wasn't very far from Strasbourg. We went to with Desi to see it. She wanted to be a journalist at the time. She was in college, and we went and no one took a picture. You saw all the Oriental people with their cameras hanging. It's just so, you think you're still there, the buildings, you still see the ashes, the burners, you see everything there. The list of people, she saw my grandmother's name, her sister, they gave her a shot in her spine with gasoline, and of course she died. But my grandmother survived because every week they would get a railroad truck full of food from, the restaurant and stuff, from the business they had in the wholesale. And as long as there were food provided to the Germans, my grandmother was kept alive. That was the deal.
Power of restaurants.
The restaurant kept her alive. Every week she was able to call home and say, make that next shipment. Oof. But they didn't, she was starved, but they didn't hurt her in any way. She was just locked up. Mm. But she survived because she went and during lunch hour she heard the Germans discussing how they're going to get the pigs, which were the Jews, the nuns and the priest and from the convent. And so my grandmother quickly organized with their trucks to go liberate these Jewish orphans and the nuns and the priest, and got them to Switzerland. And then weeks later, one of the guys, the driver, he was drunk and he was thinking he was a Frenchman at the bar, and he was a Gestapo. And he was telling him how they got those kids out and everything. And they shot all of his family, and then he finally gave the names. When they shot his wife and mother and children, he finally just broke down and gave the names, which my grandmother was part of it. I mean, she was in the French resistance. And so they kept her alive by feeding a whole railroad truck of meats and vegetables and fruits, went to Germany every week, and she was kept alive. Hmm. Yeah. But
what'd you do during all this? Were you just helping your mom out?
Helping at the farm.
At the farm?
We depends who was living. While the Germans were in the village, I went to German school. We had to greet the flag every morning, clap your heels, and say hi.
Do the whole...
Oh yeah, hi Hitler every morning. And then the Americans would move in, which then we were worse off because we didn't speak the language, for one thing. And to them, we were Germans, which really we were Germans. We were French, but we had been made German nationals. Right. So we were in no man's land. We were... you wanted to go to the bathroom, you had a GI with the gun behind your butt to let you go to the outhouse.
Jeez.
Yeah, when the Germans were there, you just laughed and ate with them and talked with them. It was no big deal. They just talked your language and left you alone if you didn't do anything they didn't want. But other than that, life went on. But when the Americans came, it was very scary, because you were German citizens. You were the boogeyman.
Wow.
Yeah, so... But those other people went on with their life and were the best friends, even though we were Catholic, they were Jewish. But the mother and father both were professors, and they had this young boy that survived those 5 years. My aunt was his nanny, and that's why when they started to come, a truck would pull up the German trucks would pull up and grab all the families into the truck, and it either went and got shot down outside the town, or they went to a concentration camp. If they were in good shape, they went to a concentration camp. If they were old and sickly,
They just got killed. Yeah.
they just got killed.
Wow. It's coming. It feels like that same thing's coming again.
But only the strongest. They didn't want anybody that was retarded or had any kind of mentally illness. The Germans didn't. Those were they automatically got killed. They didn't go to no concentration camp. They just.
That's too bad.
Yeah. And.
That the gypsies.
Yeah, of course. Sad. Yeah. But, otherwise life went on as, my grandmother was the midwife. She delivered babies. My grandfather took care of their horses that used to be the people's horses. Then they were
the Germans' horses.
Transportation for the Germans. And we trained our cows to do the plowing and...
because you didn't have the horses.
Yeah, we didn't have horses, so our cows were trained to do that. Which was very
Just tie a plow to my butt. I'll do it.
Yeah, they had to learn, which then they gave less milk because they were working. So...
Oh, we can't have that. We need the milk.
We needed the milk for the butter, which everything was... every Saturday, of course, they would go and requisition everything. You could only keep so much milk.
Oh, wow.
To make cheese.
So what happened when it started producing less milk? Did they...
You had to show that the animals were slaughtered, and you could only slaughter for your own food so many, either for Easter you could kill a pig or a cow, or in November for the December, twice a year.
These are the Germans telling you?
Yes.
Jeez.
Because they would take all the rest. They would come and count your chickens, and you were allowed to eat one, so you would always eat the poor roosters first, because, you only need one. And then the chickens, and if you had so many chickens, they wanted so many eggs. And you were allowed per person so many eggs, one a day. So you could have 7 a week per people, and the rest were picked. And if you chicken didn't lay eggs, then you either ate it or you cheating. So sometimes you had to give your own eggs because you didn't want any trouble.
To save your chicken.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, really?
And so people would then, they didn't have money to pay for their stuff to be done by my grandfather or my grandmother delivering their child, so they would give you a little bit of their milk or a little bit of their butter, or an animal. They bring you a rabbit or a chicken, which was good because they would only come and check you out if you were low. Otherwise, once you were checked, then that's what you dropped off every weekend. So
that's it.
Grandmother would say, okay, don't pay me, just give me a chicken, or give me a few eggs, I'm short.
Wow.
For delivering your kid and looking after the mother and child.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the thing, but it was always done within good humor, and growing up, I didn't see there was always lots of love and laughter. Grandfather had 2 or 3 young men that were learning the trade, and they would help in the fields, as well. And my grandmother always had 1 or 2 young girls learning to be midwives. So there was always people at the farm working and helping in the house everything, you know. So as a kid, you weren't overworked. It was kind of fun to have all these people around you and the affection, you know, especially during the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made you, I just think you were robbed of a childhood. You grew up, you were considered, you know, when you were 4 and 5, you were already a young person. You could pull your share, you know, of duties and what you needed to do.
Not much playing around.
There were no time to play. Everybody was busy, you know. Yeah. So you didn't, that's one part you were considered, you know, to mind business. Yeah, by the time I was 9 years old, I had to get up every morning at 5 to milk the cows. And
every morning?
Every morning, twice a day, once in the morning and once at 5 in the evening.
Wow.
Every week, every day, you know, 7 days a week. And then you had to clean them with the wheelbarrow and collect. You know, that's all done by machines now, but then that was all hand done. But, and go and get the chicken eggs and feed the chickens. And I had a little pig that was my treasure. I had him from very small. And when there were air raids, I would take my pig instead of a doll. He was my little companion. I would run in the barn and get the piggy and then run to the bunker and meet up with everybody.
With your pig?
Yeah, with my pig, yes. So he wouldn't be scared. Yeah.
So did the pig ever get like, you know, for bacon?
He never got eaten.
No?
No. Oh,
they didn't like, Michelle, come on, we're going to go for a walk.
No.
Don't mind that shot.
Old age.
That was nothing.
He died of old age.
Your pig died of old age.
And the cow had to be, you know, in the 50s, early 50s, I remember, maybe 52, 53. I was about 15, 16. There was an outbreak of lung disease.
Bronchitis?
Tuberculosis. And so all the cows and horses had to be put down.
What?
Throughout the whole village.
They're tuberculosis carriers?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes, big time, cows and horses.
Huh.
So they came with the trucks and they picked your animals, and that was the saddest day I remember, losing my cow.
You're not just losing your cow, you're losing your milk.
And then you had to scrape and bleach, you know, you had to disinfect and then repaint everything, and then they had new laws where insemination became done by a veterinarian with a shot rather than the old-fashioned way, you know.
Yeah.
Laws changed too, so. And animals were controlled. Every 6 months they would check your animals for diseases, which they probably had all their life, but they never were checked out. But then from there on, in the early 50s, they started to check.
So tuberculosis came from animals?
They were carriers as well.
So where did it come from?
You know, I don't know, Eric, if they were transmitted by people or people got it from the animal, but a lot of people had a lot of.
Yeah, we had
in town. There must have been at least 40 or more people went to these health centers. You know, cures they used to call them. Were in the mountains somewhere that were specific for people with the disease.
Yeah, it was required to get a TB test when I started cooking, which they did away with in Vegas. They don't do it anymore.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But I'm sure you had to do it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I still did when we catered.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually stopped doing that. For whatever reason.
Well, I guess they figured they don't know. But TB is back again. Tuberculosis, there's still people catching tuberculosis.
Well.
It's not not in a huge number. Maybe that's why.
Well, I mean, maybe we should close all our small businesses down to cure tuberculosis. I'm just kidding.
We don't need to close businesses anymore. No, but school teachers are checked. Hans had to go to get tested for...
tuberculosis?
Yes, and if you ever been, he always tests positive because when he was younger, he was, at one point, him and Audrey test positive because they were near someone that had it once, but did not get it. So you test positive.
Even though you don't get it?
Huh?
Even though you don't get it, you test positive?
You test positive, yes.
Huh.
So they always, when they get were checked, him every year, they would check, before the school year start. Being even a sub, you had to be checked.
Still?
Yeah, and then he would have to go and get an X-ray. Yeah, still in Nye County, he was checked. And he would have to get a chest X-ray, and it showed he didn't have tuberculosis. Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah, still was...
Well, they're not doing it to kitchen employees anymore. At least they didn't last time I got a health card.
So...
I don't know.
I know when I got my health card for catering, we still had checked.
Yeah, I think the last time... I did the one before this last one. I think they're only good for 5 years. So 5 years before this last one I got, which I haven't got a new one. So this was 10 years ago. They stopped doing it. Because the 15 years ago they were doing it.
In the 90s they still were because I still had health cards and stuff.
Yeah, in the 90s for sure. I don't know. It was probably somewhere in the 2000, the first decade that they did away with it, I think. Because I'm pretty sure 15 years ago they did have it, and then 10 years ago they didn't have it. I don't know why.
It's...
I know I was tired of watching the stupid video. Thank God they don't know that anymore.
Oh, God,
I swore I could recite it. Remember you had to get it every 2 years, so every 2 years you're down there watching this video, the same one. Oh. For 20 years they had the same video.
It was ridiculous.
It was. It's oh man. And then do you know that the health department where we always had to go watch the video was closed down for excess mold and asbestos. Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah,
that's the Vegas health department.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right? Yeah.
It's one of those. Yeah.
It's craziness.
Well.
All right. Well, we're up to about 2 hours. Excellent.
We did it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Michelle. I've been dying to have this talk.
It was nice. I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Covered a lot of different things, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah, it was real fun. Much more than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I said, what are we going to talk about? But there's always lots to talk about.
2 hours later, here we are.
We can talk for another 2. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I know you have a busy day ahead. Do you have lots of reservations?
Yeah. This weekend's looking really busy. It's Valentine's Day on Sunday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it's really picking up.
Do you have a special dessert?
No, I don't do anything. I don't do anything for holidays.
No, you don't.
No, honestly, for Valentine's, everybody asks me that. Do you have a special, Valentine dinner? No, I serve fillets anyway. Everybody wants.
How about a fillet?
Yeah. You should just do a 3-course meal, and I'm you know what? I could. I've always thought that was a dumb thing to do. Because, you're literally, you can look at the menu. It's almost like a value menu where they just take a dessert and an entree and here's a menu. Why don't you just look at the menu and do it yourself? I don't get why I got to do that for you. It's not like you're getting something not on the menu. They want me to put 3 things together on the menu and charge the same thing I would on the menu. That doesn't
make sense.
No.
You're taking the customer's choice away. I mean,
I know, like calling it a Valentine's special. Or I probably, you could do something really dumb and buy some, the strawberries that taste like crap, but they're really big and have a tuxedo on them, and give that to each customer. And then it's a Valentine's special, even though it's the same menu items.
But they feel special.
That's it.
They feel
That's
special.
it.
So.
But anyway, yeah, that's my weekend. All right, I'm going to end this thing.
Okay.